Welcome back, everybody, for another episode of Inside the Dream. Today, I'm sitting down with Kevin Lawrence, a good friend and a business colleague, and I'm very excited to get into this discussion. Kevin, thanks so much for joining me today.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, Robert. We're here in an amazing place. Where else would you want to be today besides in a Porsche dealership?
And in sunny Kelowna.
Exactly.
So we're really laughing.
It's a good spot to start.
I start every podcast off with the same question, and that is, what is your first memory of Porsche?
Well, I have two. I have one. I grew up with a German friend of mine, Gord, and I remember we always were car nuts as a kid, always. And he always said, Porsche, Porsche. And I was like, I kind of was interested in other cars, but he always just went on about Porsche is the best. And he's German, so he's loyal to his country's brand. But he would always go on about it, and I had the picture of the 959 up in my room, and so did he. So that was the anchor of it that really got me really thinking about it when I was young. But my first experience, because I always wanted a 911, that was always a dream that I had. And I was in Vegas with my brother-in-law, and we're there for a family thing. I don't remember what it was, but there's a bunch of people there. And so I went and rented a Porsche for the day. I rented a Boxster. And there's this thing called Red Rock Canyon, I think, outside Vegas. And it's this road, just a super curvy road. I think it's one way that you can just fly. Well, no, we chose to just fly on it. But my memory, we had a great day. It was my first experience with and he and I. But then I'm like, well, I'm also a bit of a hooligan. So I was trying to figure out how to do donuts. So I'm in the Boxster out in its intersection, which is the widest stretch of road, trying to do donuts, but I couldn't figure out how to turn off the traction control. And I was going to say, that's going to be a challenge with the traction control. It is, and I couldn't figure it out, and I almost put it into a stop sign because it kept the harder I tried, the harder the computer straightened the car out.
How was the inspection process when you took the car back? Did they see the edging on the tires?
I think it was all
everything was good.
We quietly walked away. Yeah, it was good.
I love that. I love the answer. It's funny how often posters are involved in our answers. Like the posters of these 911s back in the day were over so many kids' beds or wherever it was in their bedrooms. It's just such a funny connection.
It is.
So you and I know each other through a different kind of side of the business. But funny enough, it was really connected through Porsche.
Yes.
You're a car enthusiast, a Porsche enthusiast, really interested in the track. Where did that come from? What does that look like for you? I know you're really engaged in it.
Yeah, I mean, look, my dad was into cars. My dad was a mechanic. So I grew up around cars, and as a kid, I mean, we spent a lot of time doing things at night in cars that we probably shouldn't have been doing as we were trying to test our limits and practice driving.
The good old days.
The good old days, I'm telling you. And there was no video at the time.
Yeah.
There was no video on phones. And so always into cars my whole life and messing around on the street. And then I tried autocrossing when I was younger, did autocross. And then I did some track stuff and got my race license. And I got, at some point, I think I was maybe in my 30s, I think I got my first 911.
Okay.
And I learned to drive really, really well in 911, took a lot of driving courses. And I just fell in love with it. And it's continued on to be a member at Area 27 and doing lots of track stuff, but it's kind of like just deep inside of me, this part, it's constantly screaming to come out.
And we talked a little bit about it prior to jump on the podcast here. It's the emotional connection with these cars because they really do deliver an emotional connection. Sometimes that's fear, excitement, desire.
It's visceral.
Yes.
I was out yesterday and I forget where I was, and then I heard a 911 go by, and I'm just like, oh, I love that sound. And my partner, she's like, but the exhaust isn't loud. I go, no, it's not the exhaust. It's like the little rattle of the 911 engine. It's visceral. Like I had a 79 911, and it had been cleaned up, and I had the engine rebuilt. But I went back and driving a car from 1979. It is exceptional.
Yeah.
Like it was exceptional, and it was this it's like a spiritual experience. And I took it was kind of like my nephew out with me, who's also into cars, and he's into Japanese modified cars, and he gets in this thing. He's like, what is this? It's like an immersive experience.
It's funny you mentioned that. So I've a couple people that are close to me, customers who are now friends, have bought lots of the new Porsches, and they're actually starting to make a transition back to the older Porsches. They've experienced the new, the fast, the really high-tech vehicles, and they're going back to get a different level of experience with the older models because it's a completely different experience. You're more connected with the drive. You feel it a little bit more. Even though you're not going as fast, maybe the sounds, the smells, they make it a different experience.
Yep.
So it's funny that you've kind of shared that. We will, if you've got time after the podcast, we'll take a ride in my new 911 GTS T Hybrid. It's got a little more sound than you would expect, and the hybrid technology puts you in the back of that seat pretty quick.
Is this the new hybrid piece that's on the transmission?
It's incredible.
Yeah, you were telling me about this before.
Aside from a GT3, it's the most enjoyable, passionate drive that I've ever had. It actually blows my mind every single time I get in it. I cannot believe the job that they've done with this car.
That's amazing. My most recent one I had was a GTS, like a 2023 GTS. It was an incredible car, and I would put it almost as, I had a GT3 RS, almost as good as that on the street. Track is different.
Of course.
But the visceral experience.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Mine's pretty close. The GT3 that I've driven, or I've driven a few, but the GT3 experience, I say it's like being on the edge of a knife. Like it is. You are just
it's an amazing,
so off balance, but right where you want to be.
Yeah, it's an amazing tool.
Yeah. Do you have the most memorable experience in a car, whether it was a track event or a drive, maybe along a coast, anything like that?
My gosh, I have so many.
Yeah.
Like I'm picturing a whole bunch in my head. Even recently, we took I had a C4S cab, and we did a road trip down to California, down the coast, and that was beautiful. But I think a lot of my best, actually, I will share one of my best memories. It was a day at the track at Area 27, and when it first opened, a bunch of us that joined early on, there was 5 of us all had GT3s.
Yep.
And imagine 5 brothers fighting in a playground. And that's what was happening on the track. And we were battling. And we were all pretty good drivers.
Yeah.
But we were out there, and one was green, mine was black, another one was red, another one was purple, and the other one was yellow. And we're out there. It's like a bunch of smarties bombing around on the racetrack. And I remember this moment, and my buddy Dave, who actually lives up here in Kelowna, and we're all a little off, and he didn't want to let me pass. And the rules of the track on a track day is you have to wave past. It's not full racing, and he wouldn't let me pass. So I'm quite comfortable at speed. So I was getting closer and closer, and just we're feet off each other's bumper as we're going. And then finally we go into this one corner, and you're not supposed to pass on the corners. Yeah. But he messed up and made a mistake, and I just ripped by him and passed him. And we were high-fiving and laughing our butts off after we did it.
Yeah.
But it was the playing together like that.
Yes, and boys will be boys out there just fighting it out. I think I know which color that car is because I think I know who it is, and I think that's the green one.
It is. It is the green. He is the green one. Yes.
He's a great guy, a good customer, good friend of ours.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think so. That was on a track, and on the street. My gosh, I've spent I don't know how many. I probably a couple 100,000 kilometers on the street driving a 911. And I used to daily drive them a bunch of times. I don't as much anymore. I think it's where would be. Recently, last year, my son and I went to the F1 race in Barcelona.
Okay.
And then we popped over to Italy for a couple of days.
Yep.
Stopped at the Porsche dealership because you can rent.
I just about did that this year.
We did it.
So you went through, Lake Como, was it Como?
No, we were down by Florence.
Okay.
So in the dealer by Florence, and then we went up into the mountains around Italy, my son and I, ripping around, and it was a new GTS coupe. And we had S or GTS, I forget which it was. And we just bombed around all through the mountains in Italy. And we had just a 10 out of 10 experience.
Jason and I, my fixed operations manager here at the dealership, were recently on a trip to Europe, and we tried to set up renting 911 from that same dealership to go drive ourselves, but it fell on a holiday and our schedule didn't allow for the return date, so we weren't able to do it. Hopefully I'll get back one day, but we would have loved. We were trying to do a very similar trip to you because of the roads and just the experience here. Yeah, the visuals.
And it's a great program.
It's great. We offer that program here at the store.
You do?
Yep. We've had the program now. We are in our 4th year. The program's evolved quite a bit, but we do rent the Porsches out of this dealership. We've got 2 of our 3, both 911s out long term right now.
Really?
Yeah. Great program for snowbirds.
They
go to Arizona. They rent a 911 there. They come back to Kelowna, they rent a 911 here, or whatever car that they want, and they never pay insurance, they never pay maintenance, they don't have to worry about storing cars or anything like that. It's just handled for them.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, no depreciation.
And you get to drive different cars whenever you feel like
Yeah, exactly. It's a new one every time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm excited to get to this part of the podcast. So you and I kind of came to connection after me reading your book. Actually, specifically listening to your book the first time. I have a copy of it because it is so important to me. I did want to bring it and share it with everybody today. I will tell the story, but the book has changed the trajectory of my life, I feel, in a lot of ways. And I don't think I've shared this story with you. So I was doing 75 hard at the time, kind of a fitness mental challenge that I do. And I was on a walk where I go for a walk down on Mission Creek. And I remember walking down the path, and I was listening to the book for the first time. And everything resonated so directly with me. I kid you not. Like, I'm like, is there like a hidden camera? Is this some sort of joke?
Was he watching me?
I couldn't believe how everything connected with me. It was like, I get goosebumps even thinking about it. From there, because I wanted the workbook, which I've also brought, because if you're going to get the book, you got to get the workbook. And this isn't some sort of sales pitch. I really believe in both that much. I reached out to lawrenceandco.com. I got a response from your assistant, your administrative person. Much to my surprise, you jumped on and say, hey, Robert, it's Kevin. I met you a few years ago down at the track. Within 2 months, we were sitting together. Within 2 months of that, which is over 2 years ago, I was working with one of your colleagues, your employees, Tim Dumas, who I've been with for over 2 years.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's completely changed my vision, the way that I lead, the way that I structure things. He now works with my executive staff as well as myself collectively. We've been working together about 1.5 years as a group, and to say that it's made a difference would be like the understatement of all understatements.
Wow.
Super passionate about leadership. It's really close to home to me. So, I wanted to share that story with you. Thank you, kind of an indirect thank you, because of course, I mean, I'm sure there's lots of people out there that have had that experience. I guess maybe just tell me a little bit about the book, your journey in leadership, and I know a lot about it because I've listened to the book 12 times, but just jump into that for us a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been working with highly driven people like yourself now for it's almost 30 years, that's a big number. It's kind of a scary number, but when you're looking at highly driven people in a game of business, the game is hard. And this thing that makes people wildly successful will also break them down and destroy them at the same time. And then one of the quotes in the book is that, leadership in building a great company will either slowly destroy your life or force you to get stronger. So as we work with companies on strategy and building companies, I kept seeing a lot of people bonk along the way or suffer in ways where they didn't need to. And I figured, well, there's got to be a better way. So after coaching lots of people like yourself of all kinds of different companies and organizations around the world, started to see patterns, and basically everybody has the same problems. And the book is just the 17 most common conversations and solutions that we've worked on with people over the years. And so it's a big passion, and the root of it is basically almost like if we were a battery powered car, which I'm more of a combustion engine type person, but if we were a battery powered car, and we don't plug the car in regularly, there's not a lot of juice left in the car, and it's not going to be a lot of good. And we're kind of like a battery powered car. Is that if we don't charge ourselves up, and your oxygen mask first is about taking care of yourself so you're stronger and more charged, and then you'll have a great impact at work. You'll be a better person at work, and you'll be a better version of yourself in your life. But if you don't take that time and dedicate to yourself to charge yourself up, everything else kind of fails. And unfortunately, when the going gets tough, people like us generally double down. We double down our commitment and we work harder. We just talked about you having an event till you're up late at night and then back here early in the morning, right? And that's kind of how we roll. I'll get home late tonight and I got to be at the airport tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for a flight down to the U.S. That's kind of our world. So if we don't, because we are, what makes us successful will hurt us. We just need reminders and tools to help us to charge ourselves up and to develop and increase our capability as a leader.
I was having that same moment as when I was walking down the path there again, thinking he's in my head, because I'm actually going through one of those phases right now where I've gotten away from some of my rituals.
Yep.
My totes have piled up, which if you want to know what those are, you can go in the book. And they have, and you start to
feel it.
This is a workbook, not a single time use book. It's something I've honestly listened to it at least 12 times. My entire staff has this. My leadership group has gone through it. We've done a book study on it because it ebbs and flows in leadership, especially at the highest level. You might be doing really good, but inevitably something's going to come and knock you off balance. How quickly you regain that balance is going to determine how deep you kind of go maybe in the wrong direction.
Yeah, and it's like with a car, it needs regular maintenance. And you got to put your snow tires on in the winter, and you got to get your car cleaned and detailed, and all of those things. We're the same. And if you don't keep on top of it, this way, if you want to grow and become more effective as a leader and a person, you have to be ahead of it.
Yep.
You can't, so in automotive terms, there's this thing called break fix. You drive your car until it breaks, and then you get it fixed, which is the opposite of preventative maintenance.
Yes.
And it's even more extreme in the racing world. In the racing world, you don't wait till things break. You replace things proactively based on hours and usage. But a problem, if we let her operate more on a break fix mentality, which a lot of people do, you can't go anywhere because you're always in rehab. You need to be ahead.
It's funny. So it's a really easy thing for me to support others with, but a very challenging thing to do myself. And I'm sure you've experienced that and dealt with lots of people. I don't take great care of myself often enough, but I support the people around me to the highest level at all times.
That's interesting.
No matter what it does to me.
Sure.
It's such a challenging balance, and a bit of a challenging reality when you go through conversations like this. When you really get that realization, I'm sitting here a little bit humbled and frustrated that maybe I haven't been a little bit more proactive with it. That's the opportunity, and it's not the last time.
And we're all working on it. Like, nobody's perfect. I mean, anyone that portrays a perfect perspective of themselves in the world is lying.
Absolutely.
They're so caught up in their own ego, they actually can't tell the truth. So nobody is perfect. Nobody's got it figured out. Everybody is learning as they're doing it. And if we have grace with ourselves to say, look, we have high expectations, but give ourselves credit for moving in the right direction, then that's the way you live your life. I think I'm going to be learning and getting better until I'm in my 80s, 90s, or 100. Even this morning, I was on a hike with another CEO that we work with. And we're talking about health and fitness. And we're talking about different things that we're both working on and how some things work and some things are hard. But it's like we're working on it, and we're doing our best to get better. You've got to remember, some people aren't trying anything. But the nature of high-performing people is that we're super self-critical.
Yeah.
And super hard on our system. Hence why I wrote the book, to try and help us, because I'm the same. I've got the same challenges.
Yeah. In the book, and I've thought about asking this question, and if it's inappropriate, let me know. But is there not a favorite, but is there a chapter, something in the book that had this profound impact on you? Are they all very equal because they all go together? And that's where I come from with not knowing if it's an appropriate question.
Yeah, that's totally appropriate. You're not asking about my kids, so it's super appropriate. I would say that there's a couple that I talk about myself and my own as we build our firm. There's a couple that make a difference for me. Resilience rituals is key. That's the resilience rituals, those things that you do for your body and your mind and your spirit, so you're charged up and you're radiating the best version of yourself where you go. That is huge, and it has been huge, and that's the feedback I get from lots of people. The second one is make yourself useless, and it's tied with stop being chief problem solver.
Which are two very challenging things, because I am very good at one. Naturally, it's not even a thing to me, is trying to make myself useless. That's empowering other people. But in the empowerment side of it, and where I'm driven to empower people, I also am quick to support them and to not let them go through the challenges.
Right.
And
They might not call that support.
Well, exactly. No, sure. And that's a very fair thing.
Yes.
I'm quick. I'm there to fix it for them. And I need to just give it more time. Let mistakes happen, let the growth happen, the learning happen, because if not, they're always going to just be looking over their shoulder for an answer.
I have a lot of those same tendencies too, Robert. Like, make yourself useless is about surrounding yourself with a team that is so darn good, you don't have to do a lot, right? And even if my team in our firm is so good, our team is, like, I'm so honored to work with the people that I work with. It's also so good that it's very hard to find people that meet our standards.
Yeah.
Like even on our admin team and the support team that supports our advisors that support our clients, finding someone that they can work with, that they choose, that they want to work with is hard. But yeah, it's the jumping in piece. That's the stop being chief problem solver. Is because you see it and you have an answer, and it's that fight. And I'm getting better at it. I tell you, my kids have helped me to get better at it because they don't listen. My kids are 20 and 22, and plus my partner has kids that are, they're 26. They don't listen. They're out of that phase. You can't tell them what to do. So it's a good thing if you want to support them in ways. You can't just say, well, you should do this and this and this, because they won't do it. Yeah. Basically, it forces you to have a higher level of leadership.
Yeah, it's I'm working on it.
Well, I was saying to someone yesterday, actually to another CEO I work with on the way up here as I drove up last night. And I said, at the end of the day, any self-respecting, high-performing leader won't let you tell them what to do. Mm-hmm. If they will let you tell them what to do, either they don't trust that they can push back, mm-hmm. or they don't have a lot of confidence in themselves.
Yep.
But a really high-performing, high-confident person isn't going to take... So an exceptional, capable, confident leader won't take it.
Yep.
Like if you were working for me or I'm working for you, we're not going to be able to tell each other too much about what to do.
Nope. Because I go right to some specific scenarios. A challenge that I have is that I am pretty... as you know my disc profile and you know me quite well,
yeah.
I have a lot of strong dominant characteristics about my personality, and some of my team don't necessarily have the same personal characteristics to match that. So it's really been a blend of me trying to come down and be closer to them to make them comfortable, and for them to go outside of their comfort zone and come closer to me to develop that relationship. I'm such a huge believer in constructive conflict. I think it's the way that you can accelerate growth is by having constructive conflict, and that just means nobody's right, nobody's wrong. There's two sides that you can speak about.
And as long as both sides believe that in the conversation, good.
Yes.
That's the key. And people like you and I are more comfortable with conflict than the typical person. And most people aren't.
Exactly. Well, that's just it.
So it's like you got to make it so that everyone is comfortable. And that's all part of the growth. Like every person has different things they can work on to optimize themselves.
Yeah.
And yours and mine is a little more obvious because we're more dominant. The interesting thing that I've seen over the years and working with lots of great leaders and CEOs, and I'll teach them things, they'll teach me things. I learn a lot from great people. But one of the things I've seen is to take that dominance and put it into setting clear expectations. And then when it comes time to let them find their way on their own power, and instead of giving direction, ask a question. Mm-hmm. My number one thing is I'm much better at asking questions, still working on it. But secondly, only asking, if I have 10 things I want to point out and ask about, I pick one.
Yep. I'm not good at that. That's for sure. I'm working on the other one. I'm really not good at that. I haven't thought about it that kind of definitively before.
Well, because a guy like you or I, in the way that we're wired, you can walk into the showroom and walk into the shop. I could probably walk into the shop right now and see 10 things that could be better.
Yep.
I know I could.
Within 30 seconds.
It's just somehow it's how I'm wired.
I've got the same thing.
I have it. And my job is to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah.
Because if I go around saying all 10, I'm going to minimize people. And that's not my intent. It doesn't matter what my intent is. The key is, what's the one? And then how do I put it into a constructive question? And again, I'm not saying I got this all figured out. I still work on this.
Yeah.
But that's because I see 10 things everywhere I go.
I'm the exact same. So I usually leave work about 3 or 3:30. It's usually the time where my capacity for emails, stats, that sort of thing is done. And if I hang around, I start pointing out issues in the deal. That chair's not straight. This isn't, the gapping's not perfect here. So instead, I just leave because I don't want to have a negative influence on people.
So you notice that you have less of that mental or emotional capability to manage yourself.
Yeah, later in the day. So I've now started to remove myself from it.
That's smart.
I'll go, if I need to, I'll go home and work. I'll often go and golf and reset that way. I start quite early in the morning, so...
That's brilliant. That's self-management. Mm-hmm. Because you know that your best energy has been burnt up.
Yes.
And you're more likely to go to your old ways versus your smarter ways.
Yeah. People think I'm always just ducking out of here. I'm doing it for a reason. I've never shared that with everybody. So it's an interesting thing that I do.
That is but that's the kind of strategies that people have. And some people will go and meditate in the middle of the day to
Yep.
reset. People have all kinds of things that they do. There's no right or wrong. It's managing yourself. But at the end of the day, if we aspire to the highest level of leader we can be in our life, and it takes intentionality.
Yep.
Because we have natural wiring, but that's not always good. So that kind of intention, you have a strategy, and you have a kind of a way that you know it's time to tap out.
I can feel it. I can feel it coming. I start to get distracted. Then I walk downstairs and all I see is problems,
Yep.
the way that you said it. I'm like, okay, so if anybody doesn't need anything else from me, I will see you guys tomorrow morning.
Right. Well, that's interesting. That's what my next book is about for leaders. The working title is The Four Forces of Growth.
Okay.
How do you stay in the growth quadrant, which is where you're focused on opportunities to drive value, take care of customers, create more business, versus degrading down into problems and what needs to be fixed. And
So that's interesting because one of those things comes very natural to me and one doesn't.
yeah. Everyone has a default wiring one way or the other.
I'm growth.
Yes.
Constant growth minded. I'm really bad at some of the other details, the problem management. You know, like this morning I was out for a walk and thinking about a DMS. We've recently done a DMS conversion here, not to go into that too much, but it's something I haven't put nearly enough time into, given the attention that it deserves. I've spent all my time on the growth stuff, books, planning, strategic planning, one-on-one with my
That's what the
team.
best CEOs and senior leaders do.
Is it? So I
You
have a
need
lot of
people
self.
who work on the rest. The other stuff needs to be done. But the greatest opportunities, and I'm going to put simple, just math, in business or in terms of personal growth, is looking where the extra 10,000s are and not getting caught up in the missing dollars.
So, and that's me. But then I get a little self-conscious that,
Yeah.
oh, I'm supposed to be doing this stuff as well.
It needs to happen.
Yeah.
It needs to happen. So one of the things in the new book I talk about, and I call it's the battle of two bicycles. So the leader of a business has two bicycles to ride. One is the strategic growth bicycle for the future. The other is the operational execution results bicycle for the today or this week.
Yeah.
And we're all default to one of the two bikes. The problem is the job requires you to ride both.
Yes.
And now, have you ever tried to ride two bikes? Like, it doesn't go well, right?
I rode two people on one bike, but never
That's
two
it,
bikes at once.
that's easier.
Yes.
But trying to ride two different bikes, it's two different mindsets, two different operating systems. So generally, most people drop one on the side of the road and it rusts off on the side and they go with their default.
Yep.
And so part of the job for leaders, especially people leading businesses, is to make sure that both bikes are getting ridden enough. And for people like you that have the default focus on growth, awesome. Well, who's taking care of the operational bike, of the execution bike, of the today bike, and making sure it's tight so you can stay there? And it's about having enough, you still have to have time, energy on both. But generally, when one of the two bikes gets neglected, then the business starts to hurt, and then it turns into a crisis. So
Yep.
either you lose growth because there's not enough energy in growth, which happens to lots of companies as they grow, lots, or you start to get really loose operationally.
So many things popping in my head. I won't go too far into it. It's a very exciting book. Do you know when that might be coming? What that looks like?
The set published date is November 4th.
Oh, fantastic!
This year, and I've been working on this book for 6 years. It took me
Really?
way too long. Because I took a very, very complex concept and tried to make it and it is very, very simple. But it's basically why organizations lose their growth trajectory. Why do they get altitude like a plane and all of a sudden end up on the ground when
Yeah.
that's not what they wanted? And it's actually incredibly predictable.
Really, I look forward to that book. I mean, you send me one right away.
Yeah.
It's funny. One of my goals, and I haven't told anybody this other than probably my mom or my dad. One of my life goals is to write a book. I don't know about a book about what. It is on my vision board. It's one of my goals in life to at some point write a book. So the fact that you're doing your second is incredible. If it's
And it also means, what that means is you're a learner. See, for me, it took me, I didn't really do my first book until I was in my 40s.
Yeah.
Because I felt I needed to learn and get a level of mastery before I wanted to go and teach and share with other people. I had the same goal, but it drove the heck out of me.
So one thing that I really, really personally gives me a lot of internal satisfaction is sharing things about myself that maybe are less than ideal, that might be able to help or support other people.
Yes.
It's what you've done in this book.
Yep.
I'm very open, very honest. I'm not hiding from anybody any of the deficiencies that I may have or experiences and otherwise.
Or character building things.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where that drive comes from. For me, I just don't know what it looks like yet.
Well, and being open and honest about your own struggles, your own imperfection, your own challenges, your own desires, your own successes, being open about that, it makes for very, very effective leaders.
Yeah.
The leaders who pretend they have it all figured out and all buttoned down, people don't connect with them. They also don't trust them.
We both know lots of both sides of that.
I know that. And at the end of the day, again, no one's perfect. No one's got it figured out. The best leaders are open and authentic and then wildly driven.
One thing I just wanted to add in just from the first book is that the biggest thing for me is the totes.
I have a list. I was updating my list this morning, by the way.
So for everybody watching, what Toad's list is, and kind of correct me or steer me if I'm wrong, is a compilation of all the things that maybe you don't want to get to or that don't take priority over the other things. But when they add up, they create such a level, such a weight on a CEO or a leader's back that it almost prevents you from doing anything. It also paralyzes you almost. I'm very guilty for it. I've got a list far over 150 of them, and I'm not doing a great job of checking them off as quickly as I would like to. I mean, thank you so much for jumping on with me today, Kevin. Before we go, where can people find your book? Where can they connect with you, your company, and just learn a little bit more about Lawrence & Co.?
LawrenceandCo.com.
Yeah.
LawrenceAndCo.
Perfect. If you get the book, get the workbook. I highly recommend it. It's fantastic. My staff have all done it. If you want to reach out to me, please do. But again, thanks. I know you're super busy. We've kind of jammed this in on one of your visits up here. So thank you so much for making time. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks so much for joining the show today, guys. If you liked the show, please like the button, share with some friends, and of course, if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel here at Porsche Center Kelowna, it would be greatly appreciated. And until next time, have a great one.